Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto unlocked Namikaze and Uzumaki at the same time, part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto Uzumaki wasn't happy at all, not one little bit. Why? Because the third Hokage had ordered his personal Anbu Black Ops to find him and bring Naruto to him, the sooner the better. However, despite being brought to a man who will lie straight to his face or constantly be told to try to understand things, which usually involves a villager being allowed to do something horrible to him and get away with it scot-free, but that wasn't what truly pissed Naruto off. It was that he was in middle of eating his lunch, his favorite food miso ramen from Ichiraku, before being interrupted by the Anbu Black Ops and be told that the Hokage demanded to see him immediately. However, Naruto knew it is stupid to be so angrily for a small reason like this, but he couldn't help himself. Why? Because originally back when he was 7 years old, before the change, which he calls it, he was already mad in love with ramen, and after he got the memories it doubled because his mother was in love ramen just as much as him, and it kind of fused his love for ramen and hers, in which created a person who really loves ramen. Anyways, Naruto was currently standing in front of the third Hokage in his office, and he already know why he was there, because of what he did last night between him, Iruka, and Mizuki, who was at the Konoha's hospital surrounded by Jonin just in case he tried to escape or to take his own life to prevent the identity of whoever he was working for to be discovered. Naruto, I think you know exactly why I have called you here today, said Hiruzen in a serious tone. Yes, Hokage-san, it is about the event that happened last night, said Naruto. That's right, Naruto. Normally I would have called here straight away after the event, but my Anbu Black Ops couldn't find you, said Hiruzen. Because after the incident I went straight home. It was late after all, said Naruto. Naruto, I am tired of playing these games with you. I know you wasn't at your apartment and you haven't been there at all last night, so that leaves me this important question: where have you been all night? Said Hiruzen. Like I said, Hokage-san, I went straight home, said Naruto. Naruto, unless you mean to tell me that you have some other place where you call home, or I just don't what to think, said Hiruzen. Hokage-san, I thank you for the apartment that you gave me all those years ago, but I haven't truly used it much for the past couple years now, said Naruto. In that case I would like to know where is your home, Naruto, said Hiruzen, curious that this might be the place where Naruto goes and which his Anbu Black Ops can't find. Somewhere that the villagers won't vandalize, said Naruto. Naruto, please tell me, where do you live now? Don't you trust me at all? Said Hiruzen. Hokage-san, if I reveal to you where I now live some way or another, it's going to get slip out and then I will have to put up with the villagers again, so it is not a matter of trust but protection for my home, said Naruto. But in truth it was only part of the reason why, because if the Hokage knew where he lived then he would find out that Naruto knows who were his parents, which was something that Naruto didn't want people to know just yet. But it is important that I know where you live if something important comes up and I need to find you, said Hiruzen. Hokage-san, I hardly think someone who leads an entire village filled with shinobi will need help from a fresh genin, said Naruto. Fine, but you know that if you want to be promoted to the Chunin rank you will have to reveal it to me, said Hiruzen. Fair point, Hokage-san, but I will only reveal it when it is needed for the promoted to Chunin, said Naruto. Okay then, Naruto, but back to my original question, what happened with Mizuki, said Hiruzen. I prevented a traitor from stealing the scroll of sealing, said Naruto. Which is great and all, but what I'm asking, how were able to stop a Chunin, and how or where did you learn that unknown powerful lightning jutsu that you use against Mizuki, said Hiruzen. As you had seen during my genin exam, I have lightning chakra nature, but I thought I needed to know more jutsus to use when I become a shinobi for the leaf. However, because no one would teach me anything, so I decided to create my own, said Naruto, actually telling the truth. Naruto, are you telling me that you created that jutsu? Hiruzen asked, shocked. Yes, I did created that jutsu, said Naruto. Incredible, Hiruzen muttered to himself. Like father like son, I just. Hiruzen thought, thinking about back when Minato was creating his own personal jutsus like the Rasengan that he used during the Third Great Ninja War. Is that all, Hokage-san? Said Naruto. There's some other things I want to ask you, Ab. Suddenly Hiruzen interrupted by someone burst in. Today is the day that I surpass you, old man, said the little boy who had kunai in his hand and was wearing a green t-shirt, shorts and had long blue scarf around his neck. But because of his long blue scarf he tripped over it and fell straight to the ground. Ow, that hurt, said the boy. Air I getting too old for this, said Hiruzen. As the boy picked himself up he looked at Naruto and his eyes changed to anger. You're the one who tripped me and ruined my surprise attack on the old man, didn't you? Said the boy. No, you trip over your own scarf, which by the way you really need to shorten to avoid things like this from ever happening again, said Naruto. You did trip me because there is no way I would fall over something stupid like that, said the boy. Konohamaru, I'm in the middle of something, can this wait? Said Hiruzen. Not until he apologized for tripping me up, said Konohamaru. I don't time for this, Hokage-san, can I leave now? Said Naruto. Yes you may, Naruto, said Hiruzen. Wait, not until he apologizes for tripping me over, said Konohamaru. Just then a man ran in. He was wearing a banana version of Konoha's headband protector which covered all of upper half of his head, pitch black sunglasses similar to the ones that the members of the Aburame clan wear, and the standard Konoha uniform but without the flak jacket. Lord Hokage, I am so sorry, he just ran away when I turned my head, said the man. It's all right, Ebisu, said Hiruzen. Ebisu looked at Konohamaru who was standing next to Naruto, and when Ebisu realized who Naruto was he gave him the same look that almost everyone gives him. The Kyuubi brat, thought Ebisu. Well, I'm waiting for my apology, said Konohamaru. I'm not apologizing for your stupidity, said Naruto whilst he walked towards the door but stopped when Konohamaru ran in front of him and stood in his way. Honorable grandson, has he done something to you? Said Ebisu. He tripped me up and ruined surprise attack, said Konohamaru. I don't have time for this kid, said Naruto as he picked up Konohamaru and move out of way without hurting him. Put the third Hokage grandson down immediately, Ebisu demanded. No doubt now he knows that I'm his grandson he's going to go on his hands and knees and beg for my forgiveness, Konohamaru thought. Yeah, you better put me now or else, said Konohamaru. Or else what? Said Naruto. Well, my grandfather will fire you from the Leaf Shinobi, said Konohamaru. Then I will be able to leave the village without the worry of being marked a missing nin, said Naruto, surprising Konohamaru and Ebisu who didn't expect that kind of answer. Well, I am the Hokage's grandson, so you better show me some respect, said Konohamaru. He's starting to sound like a certain annoying Uchiha, Naruto thought. Respect is earned, not given, kid, said Naruto. Walked towards the door but was stopped again with Ebisu. You will show respect to the Hokage's grandson and apologize to him immediately, Ebisu demanded. How about no? Naruto said, disappearing in a burst of speed and then reappearing behind Ebisu and made his way out of the mansion. What was that? Thought both Konohamaru and Ebisu. Lord Hokage, we need to do something immediately for what boy has done, said Ebisu. Ebisu, Konohamaru trip up on his own scarf not because of Naruto, so there is nothing to be done, understand, said Hiruzen. Yes, Lord Hokage, said Ebisu. Now, honorable grandson, you must avoid that boy at all times because he is nothing but trouble. You wish to become the future Hokage, just follow my teaching and you will be fine. Before Ebisu could finish his sentence he was interrupted by the Hokage. Ebisu, Konohamaru gone, said Hiruzen. What, where did he go? Ebisu shouted. I believe he ran after Naruto, said Hiruzen. I must find immediately, Ebisu shouted before running out of the room. Is also that loud, Hiruzen thought to himself. With Naruto. After leaving the Hokage's office, Naruto would usually Find somewhere no one will see him and use the flying thunder jutsu to get back to the Uzumaki clan compound to avoid the annoying villagers. However, Naruto desired not to because he thought that the Hokage's personal Anbu Black Ops could be following him and that he need to get some shopping done whilst he there. But as soon as he left the mansion, the Hokage's grandson Konohamaru was following him and was trying to hide by use a fake wooden fence cover to himself. "You can come out now," said Naruto. So as the walk up to the wooden fence, he pull away at it to reveal Konohamaru. "Just as I expected from my new teacher to see though my hiding skill," said Konohamaru. "Skill anyone could see though that shinobi or not," thought Naruto before realizing what Konohamaru just said. "Wait, what do you mean about new teacher?" asked Naruto. "Well, after seeing what did at my grandfather's office, I desired that you would be better teacher than Edisu," said Konohamaru. "And just like I said back there, I don't have time for this," said Naruto. "Wait, you got to train me," said Konohamaru. "Why, because you're the Hokage's grandson," said Naruto. "Can you at least help me then?" said Konohamaru. "Hair fine, I'll help you a bit, but I got some shopping to do first," said Naruto. "Great, now I see what he eats, if that the case or anything, and when he sees my skill he will change his mind and beg to train me," thought Konohamaru. "I bet he's hoping to find out any of my secrets," thought Naruto. 2 hours later at a training ground, Naruto had his hands behind his back and was dodging Konohamaru's attacks, which was easily for him and has been doing it the past 10 minutes, and just then Konohamaru collapsed from exhausting. "Why can't I hit you?" Konohamaru asked whilst trying to catch his breath. "I've been training a lot longer than you have, Konohamaru," said Naruto. Naruto walked over to a rock and sat on it. "Hey, I've been wondering something," said Naruto. "What's that?" said Konohamaru. "Why are you pushing yourself so hard?" Naruto asked, curious. "Because I want to become the youngest Hokage," Konohamaru answered proudly. "Something tells me that isn't all of it, is it, Konohamaru?" said Naruto. "I want people to stop seeing me as the honorable Hokage's grandson and see me as me," said Konohamaru. "So he wants to be acknowledged by everyone as himself, kind of reminds me of me before I stop caring what they think of me," Naruto thought, thinking back when he was around Konohamaru's age. "Okay, but there is something else. Why did you want me to train you instead of that other guy?" Naruto asked. "Because he's just like everyone else, treating me different. The reason why I ask is because you don't care that I'm the Hokage's grandson, and after seeing how you got past Edisu so easily, I know you would be perfect," said Konohamaru. "Okay kid, I will only help you with a couple of things, okay?" said Naruto. "Really?" said Konohamaru happily. "Yeah, why not? You seem like a good kid," said Naruto. "Awesome!" Konohamaru shouted. 1 hour later. "And that's how you perform the transformation technique, got it?" Naruto said, finish explaining to Konohagakure. "Yes, boss," said Konohamaru. "Boss?" Naruto asked, curious. "Well, I desired that, since instead of calling sensei I will call you boss," said Konohamaru. "Anyways, I think that's enough for today," said Naruto. But just then Edisu jumped out of the trees. "Honorable grandson, I've been looking for you everywhere," said Edisu as he walked to Konohamaru and grabbed his wrist, pull he away. "Let me go," said Konohamaru as he tried to break free. "Honorable grandson, you must away from him, he's nothing but bad news, trust me," said Edisu. "He said let go," said Naruto. "You stay out of this or else," said Edisu. "I give 5 seconds to let go of him or I'll make you let go," said Naruto. "Ha, you may have best Mizuki, but you got no chance against a elite Jonin like me," said Edisu proudly. "Let's see about that," said Naruto as he did a couple of hand signs, and then in a proof of smoke next to him was Konohamaru, who didn't know what just happened, and Edisu was holding a stick that was on the floor before. "So you can perform Bobby replacement technique on other people besides yourself, not bad for a brat, normally only a Chunin or Jonin could be able to that," said Edisu as he threw away the stick. "Yeah, but the person who I want to use it on has to be close," thought Naruto. "I guess I have to teach you a lesson, so you should feel honored as I am an elite trainer," said Edisu as walked towards Naruto and Konohamaru. Wait, don't hurt him, I will come with you if you do. Konohamaru begged, not wanting Naruto to get hurt, but suddenly he felt a hand on his shoulder and it was Naruto. Thanks Konohamaru, but I think someone has to put this guy in his place and I'm more than happy to do it, said Naruto as he walked towards Edasu. You should have just allowed the honorable grandson to leave, I wouldn't have to hurt you, but now that chance is gone, said Edasu. First, his name is Konohamaru Sarutobi, and second, you've been annoying since the moment I first saw you, so yeah, said Naruto. Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed and did a swing kick to Edasu's head which sent he flying. Wow, thought Konohamaru. Ow, what the hell, said Edasu as he rubbed his head. I think you shouldn't underestimate your opponent, said Naruto. I guess I really shouldn't anyways, I don't know how you are able to move that fast, but it still isn't good enough to beat me, said Edasu. First he say not underestimate me and in a second later he underestimate me, what a idiot, thought Naruto. The Hokage wouldn't like it if I harm the brat, but he seems a bit overconfident with his skills, so no doubt because he managed to defeat that weakly Mizuki and now landed a hit on me, so in his own good I should show him how real shinobi do battle, thought Edasu as he changed at Naruto in Jonin level speed. I guess he's not playing around anymore, thought Naruto as he lift his arms up to block Edasu kick and then he push him back. Naruto went into his fighting stance that he and Chen created together and in a burst of speed at Edasu, sending many powerful punches and kicks at him which he only managed to block a few before being overwhelmed by Naruto's attacks, and suddenly Naruto did a high kick to Edasu Tin which sent him in the air and Naruto jump up kick him back down. He actually managed to do it, Konohamaru thought on shock. How that level of taijutsu takes 2 years to master, so how did he do it, thought Edasu. I say it before and I will say it again, do not underestimate me, said Naruto standing over Edasu before walking away. Wait, Edasu shouted with his remaining strength. Hair, what now? Said Naruto said annoyed. Where did you learn to fight like that? Edasu asked curious. From one hell of a teacher, Naruto said, thinking about Master Chen before leaving. Wait for me boss, Konohamaru said running after Naruto. The next day at the academy, Naruto was currently sitting down at his place at the far back next to a window by himself with his forehead protector around his right arm in, and Naruto changed the blue cloth of his forehead protector to a black elastic. He now has a dark blue leather belt with his black bladed katana in a white sheath that he carries at his hip and a brown shuriken holster, and his eyes were shut, making everyone else in the classroom think that he was sleeping, which shocking to everyone because two most loudest girls Sakura and Ino were fighting over who gets to sit by Sasuke, but Naruto in fact was in his mindscape and was playing a game of shogi against the Kyuubi to pass the time, but had to stop because he sensed Iruka was coming. Alright everyone, I know that all of you are excited, but please be quiet so I can tell you who are your teammates and new sensei, said Iruka, to which everyone did. Okay, team 1 will be, said Iruka as he read out the list that the Hokage gave him. Okay, going to skip all the other teams and do the ones that you know. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and before Iruka could say the third member's name he was interrupted by Sakura. Yes, true love wins in your face, Ino pig. Sakura shouted happily whilst jumping G in the air of the sat. Sakura, I haven't finished yet, sit down. Iruka shouted. Sorry Iruka sensei, said Sakura. And as for your third team member, it is Naruto Uzumaki and your sensei will be Kakashi Hatake, said Iruka. Kakashi, he's the last remaining student of his team and also possess a Sharingan in his left eye as well, thought Naruto. Yes, I going to be with Sasuke and he will see that we were made for each other, but why do we have to have Naruto, thought Sakura. Great, I'm stuck with a loud fangirl, but at least I got dope which I can learn his secrets, and hopefully this new sensei Kakashi Hatake is a strong shinobi and knows many powerful jutsus, thought Sasuke. Iruka sensei wasn't Naruto named the Rocky of the Year, and with Sasuke was as the second best in our class and Sakura is one of the top kunoichi, so shouldn't the person who is dead last be on their team instead of Sasuke? Shikamaru asked curiously. Well, the Hokage wanted to try something different this year, said Iruka. He most likely he wants Kakashi to keep close eye on me, and with him being the only other person who has the Sharingan besides me, only he can train Sasuke to use his when he finally awaken it, thought Naruto. Anyways, Team 8 will be Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga, and your sensei is Kurenai Yuhi, said Iruka. The higher ups probably pick our team to be a tracker team. It is a smart idea, thought Shino. Yes, I'm going to the alpha on this team, and Hinata is pretty cute, and hopefully our new sensei is hot, thought Kiba pervertly. I was hoping to be team up with Naruto-kun, Hinata thought sadly. I just hope that I get along with my teammates and sensei and that I don't hold them back in any missions, thought Hinata. And lastly, Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi, and your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. However, Team 9 is still active, so you will be Team 10, said Iruka. Why do I have TTO be stuck with the lazy bum and the fat SS? Ino shouted angrily. Hey, I'm not fat, I'm just big bone. Choji shouted before going back to eat his big bag of crisps. Ino, all teams are desired by the Hokage and the council, so if you have a problem, speak with them, said Iruka. It's so unfair why Dose Billboard Brow gets to be with Sasuke-kun whiles I'm stuck with these two, thought Ino. They probably want to recreate our father's team, the Ino Shika-cho, thought Shikamaru. At least I'm with Shikamaru, thought Choji. Now all of you wait here for your new sensei to pick you up, said Iruka. 2 hours later, the only people who were still waiting for their sensei was Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Whiles everyone else's sensei had came and pick up their genin, Sakura was trying to start a conversation with Sasuke and was failing at it as Sasuke just ignore her. Whiles Naruto went back playing a game of shogi against the Kyuubi, but there was amount of times you can play it until it got so boring, so he decided to pass the time by getting a drink. As Naruto got up and walked to the door but stopped when he heard Sakura shouted his name. Naruto, where are you going? We are supposed to wait here for our new sensei to show up, said Sakura. Calm down, I'm just going for a drink, said Naruto before leaving the room. How rude, he could had a least office read to get us one, thought Sakura, who could actually use a drink. After 20 minutes of Sakura continued to try to start a conversation with Sasuke, to which annoyed him greatly, and just then someone new walked in the classroom. It was a grown man who had spiky sliver hair and one visible dark gray eye, while the other, his left eye, was hidden behind his Konoha headband that was tilted downwards, and his lower half of his face was hidden as well behind a mask, and he was wearing the full standard Konoha uniform. Hi there, I'm Kakashi Hatake and I'm your new sensei, said Kakashi, not looking up from his orange book. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto's isn't here, said Sakura, which made Kakashi look up and saw that Naruto wasn't there. Where is he then? Kakashi asked curiously. He said he's going to get a drink, but that was 20 minutes ago, said Sakura. Now then, I guess I'm going to have to go and looking for him, said Kakashi as turn around back to the door, but to his surprise Naruto was standing there with a can of soda. How did he get behind me undetected? Kakashi thought in shock. About time you show up, said Naruto before taking sip of his drink. Okay then, met me on the roof, said Kakashi before disappearing, leaving a couple of leaves. Guess I will see you two up there, said Naruto before he performed the same thing that Kakashi just did, surprising Sasuke and Sakura. On the roof. As Kakashi appeared, he went and sat on the wall, read his book, believing that he got some time to spend, but suddenly in a proof of smoke Naruto appeared and he ignored Kakashi and sat down. So he knows the body flicker technique as well, Kakashi thought curiously. After 7 minutes Sasuke and Sakura finally managed to get to the roof. Okay, now that everyone is here, why don't we tell everyone what's our likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams are, said Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, why don't you go first so we know what to do, said Sakura. Sure, well, my name is Kakashi Hatake, my likes and dislikes are, well, I can't say, my hobbies are, well, you three are too young to know, and my dream is, well, I don't feel like telling you, said Kakashi. All he told us was his name and we already knew that, thought Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. Kakashi Hatake, also known as the copycat ninja and Kakashi of the Sharingan, the son of a famous shinobi Tsukumo Hatake the White Fang of the Leaf, likes and hobbies are mostly reading a book from Ika Icha series, which is a dirty porn book, and his dislikes are those who abandon their comrades, and his drama is to honor his fallen comrades, Naruto said, shocking Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi. How the hell does he know so much about me when he's only just met me, thought Kakashi. He possess the Sharingan, good to know he can teach me how to use my once I awaken it, thought Sasuke. How does he know so much about our sensei already, thought Sakura. Naruto, how exactly do you know so much about me, Kakashi asked curiously. Knowledge is power, especially in this world, said Naruto. Okay, how about you go first, Pinky, said Kakashi, pointing at Sakura. Don't call me Pinky, Sakura shouted. Well, anyways, my name is Sakura Haruto and my likes are quick glance Sasuke, and my dislikes are Ino Pig and quick angrily glance at Naruto. My hobbies are another quick glance at Sasuke, and my dream is and another quick glance at Sasuke. What a total fangirl, thought Kakashi, Naruto and Sasuke. Okay, how about you, Mr. Moody, said Kakashi, pointing at Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't like many things and I hate a lot of things. My hobbies are training and learning new jutsu, and I don't have a dream because I'm going to make it into reality. I'm going to kill a certain man and restore my clan, said Sasuke. He's so cool, thought Sakura. Yeah, he's everything what he's profile Saids, thought Kakashi. As well, he stays away from me and don't tries to use me for his own goals. Everything will fine between us, thought Naruto. And finally, you the blondie, Kakashi said, pointing at Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and that is all you are getting out of me, said Naruto. How dare he tries to act cooler than Sasuke-kun, thought Sakura. Not like I care about what his likes are anyway, thought Sasuke. Just as I expected, not much a people person, thought Kakashi. Well, anyways, you three ain't genin just yet, said Kakashi. What? But Kakashi-sensei, we passed the exam, said Sakura. Well, that was just to see if you were ready for the true exam, said Kakashi as he stood up. Met me tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the training ground 7, said Kakashi as turn around to leave. Oh, before I forget, here's so advice for tomorrow: don't eat anything or you will punk it up, said Kakashi before leaving a couple of leaves. At Konoha Training Ground 7 at 12 o'clock stood only two people. Sasuke and Sakura said they had been waiting for their sensei and other teammate of 2 hours and they were annoyed and hungry, but suddenly Kakashi appeared wavering at two of his students and not even being bothered by the angrily looks he was getting from them. Good morning, you two, said Kakashi. Where have you been? We had waited for you for over 2 hours. Sakura shouted very loudly and angrily. Well, you see, I'm making my way here, but a black cat across my path, so I had to go the long way around, said Kakashi. Don't you dare give us that lame excuses, Sakura shouted. Anyways, where's Naruto? Kakashi asked, realized that Naruto wasn't there. He hasn't shown up, said Sakura, who's slightly jealous because Naruto didn't wait 2 hours for Kakashi to finally show up. Actually, I being here for the past 20 minutes, Naruto said, sighting on a tree branch, surprising Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura. What? Why didn't we hear you? Sakura shouted, surprise. Because you were too busy dreaming about Sasuke and he was thinking about revenge, said Naruto, lying completely because thanks to his father's memories he knew that Kakashi is always late unless it was for a mission, so when he said to be here at 10 o'clock he would show up at 12 o'clock. And after their meeting yesterday, Naruto went to the training ground and placed the Flying Thunder God seal on a tree, and in truth he came at the same time as Kakashi did. But how didn't I noticed him at all until he spoke, thought Kakashi, curious. Kakashi then walk over to a rock and place a clock on it and walk over to Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura, and then he pull out 2 bells from his pocket. You three have 1 hour, get these bells from me or all of you will be sent back to the academy, said Kakashi, causing Sasuke and Sakura to tense up whilst Naruto didn't seem bothered by it at all. But Kakashi-sensei, there is only 2 bells, said Sakura. Impressive Sakura, I didn't know you can count, Naruto said mocking tone. Shut up Naruto, Sakura shouted angrily. Make me, Naruto said again in a mocking tone. Now there's no need for fighting anyway, it means that one of you will be sent back to the academy, said Kakashi. Being. Kakashi shouted, and the moment he did, Sasuke and Sakura jump into the brushes while Naruto just disappear. I can sense Sasuke is in a tree while Sakura is in the forest, but I can't sense Naruto. How's that possible? Thought Kakashi as he walked into the forest. In the forest, Sakura wasn't hiding or even planning to get the bells from Kakashi. She was walking around the forest shouting very loudly, Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, where are you, Sasuke-kun? Sakura shouted, looking for her true love. Suddenly she heard something behind her, and as she around to see what it was, but what she saw both shocked and horrified her. There stood leaning on a tree was Sasuke, who was bleeding badly. Saw Sakura, please help me, Sasuke begged. Sasuke-kun, said Sakura, who was on the edge of crying. Please help me, Sakura, Sasuke said before falling to the ground dead. Rrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr front of her faded away and up in the tree sitting on a branch was Kakashi. Maybe I overdid it bit, but she should have seen though the demonic illusion. Hell viewing technique, Kakashi thought before leaving. Back on the training ground. As Kakashi walked out forest, he quickly took out a kunai and blocked the incoming shuriken that were for his head. He has some good aim there, thought Kakashi as he watched Sasuke out behind a tree. So you desired that you be the first to try to get the bells, said Kakashi. Don't underestimate me, I'm not like the other two, I'm far better than them, said Sasuke as went his clan's fighting stance, the interceptor style. That is yet to be seen, said Kakashi, who just stood. Sasuke changed at Kakashi at a Chunin level of speed, which surprised him, and he then continued to block and dodge Sasuke's attacks, which impressive Kakashi by how far skilled Sasuke was in taijutsu, because he was managing to push him back bit. However, Sasuke jumped away and threw several shuriken and kunai at Kakashi, who managed to dodge all of him with ease. However, he did fell for a trap that Sasuke laid out for him, where several move kunai and shuriken were fired at him. When Sasuke pick up one the kunais that thrown and use it to cut a rope line. As Kakashi dodged all of Sasuke's kunais and shurikens, Sasuke quickly ran at Kakashi and once again engaged Kakashi in taijutsu, but as Kakashi managed to dodge and block Sasuke's attacks, he quickly realized that Sasuke wasn't truly trying to fight him but instead distract Kakashi as he got closer to grab one of the bells from Kakashi. Upon realizing what Sasuke aim was, Kakashi saw Sasuke that was about to grab one of the bells. Kakashi managed to jump away in the nick of time, but Sasuke managed to slightly touch one of the bells. Okay, now that was close, this kid is pretty good, I got be careful with him around or else, thought Kakashi. As Kakashi jumped away, Sasuke thought that he needed to up his game if he wanted to pass the exam, so he began to do hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, said Sasuke as he let out a middle-size fireball through his mouth. As the fireball headed towards Kakashi, who just there out of shock. How can a Mara-genin be capable of doing AC rank fire ninjutsu technique, thought Kakashi. As the fireball engulfed Kakashi, Sasuke saw that this was he change, and so he quickly overran to Kakashi to grab of the bells, but to his surprise he couldn't find he anyway. Where the hell is he? Behind me, above, thought Sasuke as tried to find where Kakashi was. But suddenly something grabbed Sasuke's ankles, and as he looked down to see what it was, he saw Kakashi's head sticking out of the ground. Looking for me, said Kakashi as he pulled Sasuke underground, leaving only his head by using the earth style double suicide decapitation technique, after which Kakashi came out of the ground and knelt down in front of Sasuke. Well, Sasuke, I got to admit you are indeed talented, I didn't expect to be pushed this far, said Kakashi, and then he got up and walked away. You can't leave me like this, I demand you let me out right now or else. Sasuke shouted. Just then Sakura, who had regained conscious, walked out from the forest, but only to see Sasuke's head on the floor. Sakura screamed in terror. Sakura, I'm not dead, just most of my body is buried underneath, said Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, don't worry, I will get you out of this, said Sakura. Suddenly Naruto appeared and walked towards Kakashi. So there you are, I was wondering where you gotta go, said Kakashi. But seriously, where the hell did he go? I couldn't sense him anyway, thought Kakashi. Naruto, help me get Sasuke out of this, Sakura shouted. However, Naruto just ignored her and continued to walk over to Kakashi. So you desired to take a chance and try to get the bells yourself, then let's see if you have better luck than Sasuke did, said Kakashi. Naruto didn't say anything, instead he just went into his fighting stance, which surprised Kakashi because he slightly recognized the stance that Naruto was in. That's fighting stance, it's like a mix between Sensei's and Kushina's, thought Kakashi, as remember that Minato's taijutsu fighting style was mostly base in speed whilst Kushina's was more brutal and destructive, which she learned from her sensei Tsunade Senju. I'll use the Sharingan, but I won't need to push it to the Mangekyo, so I don't have to worry about the Mangekyo breaking the seal and revealing itself, thought Naruto, as activated the Sharingan in his left eye, and thanks to the seal it kept it cloaked. Naruto in a burst speed changed at Kakashi at a high-level shinobi, which caught Kakashi by surprise, whilst to Sasuke and Sakura he just disappear and reappear in front of Kakashi as Naruto attacked Kakashi with his taijutsu, to which he actually managed to land his blows on Kakashi, who could only block and dodge them at the best of his ability, and Naruto then flip upside down in the air and start to kick Kakashi to distract him whilst he used his hands to grab one the bells of Kakashi's belt. However, Kakashi saw that Naruto was trying to do almost the same thing that Sasuke did before, so he kicked at Naruto's chest to get him away. As Naruto managed to land his feet back on the ground, he then did a couple of hand signs and said, "Shadow Clone Jutsu," surprising Kakashi, revealing that he can perform the advanced jutsu that most Chunin and Junin can't even perform, and in a proof of smoke 10 more Narutos appear, who all then change at Kakashi whilst the real Naruto disappear into the forest. As Kakashi eventually managed to land a single blow on each of the clones, he then made a way into the forest to find where Naruto had gotten to. As Kakashi continued to walk in the forest, suddenly he sensed something coming, and just a big gust of wind came out and smacked Kakashi, which sent him flying into a couple of trees, and as Kakashi lay down by the fallen trees he had one thought going through his head. That jutsu, it was a wind style, but the Hokage told me that Naruto had shown that he has lightning chakra nature, so how can he perform wind style jutsus as well, thought Kakashi as he picked himself up of the ground but to kick in the back by Naruto. Okay, I see that you are definitely not playing around, said Kakashi to look at Naruto. This is battle, so why would I? Said Naruto as he lifted up his sleeves to show a seal, and in a proof of smoke Naruto was holding his black-bladed katana, to which shocked Kakashi because he recognized Naruto's sword. That sword, it was Kushina's the Midnight Blade. However, where did he get his hands on it, thought Kakashi. Kakashi Thanu brought out from back pocket 2 kunai and held one in each of his hands to block Naruto's attacks with his sword. Naruto then changed at Kakashi at same level of speed as before, and as he got to Kakashi he did a upper slice at him, to which cut part of Kakashi's Konoha's flak jacket, but he managed to block with his kunai by doing a X shape. However, Naruto was able to break free and swing his sword around and cut Kakashi's left arm, causing it to bleed, and he followed it up with a kick to Kakashi's side, which push. Okay, I'm actually having trouble here, thought Kakashi. Naruto continued his attack on Kakashi, who could only avoid them and then block until Naruto had enough and start to channel chakra through his sword, causing it to glow brightly, and with one upper swing Naruto managed to shatter both Kakashi's kunai into pieces. That was chakra flow. Okay, seriously, how does he know to do that, thought Kakashi as he tried to avoid Naruto's attacks. Kakashi then desired that he needed to get out of the forest to make more space to avoid Naruto's attacks. So he jumped into the trees, but as he was about to reach a branch, something fast came past and cut through the branch completely, forcing Kakashi to land on the floor, and just as he did he turned around to see whatever it was. However, as Kakashi did, but only to see Naruto, instead of channeling normal chakra through his sword he channeled wind chakra and swung it in a horizontal slash and shouted, "Wind slash!" where he created a crescent-shaped blade of wind. The blade of wind flew at Kakashi at a very quick phase, however thanks to Kakashi's quick reflexes he just managed to avoid Naruto's deadly technique, although he did receive a deep cut on his bottom left leg, but the technique didn't stop there, it continued and went on and cut down 2 trees that were behind Kakashi. What was that technique just now? I have never seen or even heard of such technique before, thought Kakashi in shock. However, Kakashi quickly snapped out of his shock when he saw Naruto was about to fire another one of his attacks at him, to which Kakashi continued to quickly make his way out of the forest, but only to be chased after by Naruto, who continued to fire multiple wind slashes at Kakashi, which cut down many trees. As Kakashi jumped out of the forest and landed in the middle of the training ground, he saw that Sakura was digging Sasuke out, and so far she managed to dig out his upper body with only his legs remaining under. Just then Naruto walked out of the forest with his sword in his right hand, then he resheathed his sword so that he could perform some hand signs. Lighting style. Lightning roar, said Naruto as he let out a blast of lightning, though his mouth, and just like with Mizuki the ground under it was destroyed, and because of its speed and large range Kakashi couldn't escape in time and was completely hit by it. Sasuke and Sakura stare at Naruto's attack in awe and shock. What was that? Thought Sakura. What was that jutsu? Where did he learn it from? I must know, I deserve that kind of power, not him, thought Sasuke. However, as the smoke cleared, it revealed Kakashi was there, and for a second Sasuke and Sakura thought that Naruto had completely destroyed Kakashi, but just Kakashi appeared behind Naruto in a crouch position and his hands form a tiger seal. Second rule of being a shinobi: Naruto, never let your enemy get behind you, said Kakashi. Konohagakure most secret and sacred technique. 1,000 years of death, said Kakashi as he inserted his index and middle fingers in Naruto rectum. But as he did, the Naruto in front of him exploded, causing a massive explosion. Fortunately though for Kakashi, he managed to evade the explosion just in time. That was the clone great explosion. First he knows the shadow clone jutsu, and now this where is he learning all these techniques from, thought Kakashi. Naruto then quickly ran out of the forest and threw a couple of kunais and shurikens at Kakashi, who managed to dodge them. However, before Naruto continued his attack on Kakashi, the alarm clock rang, meaning that the exam was over. After Sakura finished diddling Sasuke out, she and Sasuke and Naruto walk over to Kakashi, who was sitting on the rock. Okay, seeing that none of you, let's talk what went wrong, said Kakashi. Sakura, you were too occupied trying to find Sasuke to even do anything to pass the test and failed to notice that you got caught by my genjutsu, said Kakashi. Sasuke, whiles you did try to get the bells of me and actually did a good job in trying, however you didn't thought about working with the others, believing that they would have hold you back, said Kakashi. Naruto, you were the same as Sasuke, you did a good job trying, but you didn't try to work with Sasuke or Sakura, said Kakashi. However, I have to pass them or the civilian council will be pissed that didn't pass Sasuke because they want me to train him in everything that I know, and Sakura's aunt, who is a higher up in the civilian council, will get them angrily, and as for Naruto, the Hokage wants me to keep an eye on him, and after this I can see why, thought Kakashi. Actually, Kakashi-sensei, I did manage to get both bells from you, said Naruto, holding them in his hands. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura just stare at Naruto in shock. No way he actually managed to get them while Sasuke-kun couldn't, thought Sakura. How's that possible if he's able to get them? So should I, because I'm far better than he is, thought Sasuke. When did he get them and why didn't I notice them gone, thought Kakashi. Naruto, when did you get them off me? Kakashi asked curiously. Back in the forest when I used my wind jutsu on you, which sent you flying into a couple of trees, but before that I created a shadow clone who ran and got them off you as you were hitting the trees, said Naruto. Then why did only I notice them gone until you revealed it? Kakashi asked. Because you were too distracted from our fight, said Naruto. Okay, but why didn't you say that you got them off me? Kakashi asked. Because I wanted to see how I fare against you, said Naruto. Okay, well done Naruto. However, as for Sasuke and Sakura, you two will also pass the test because I believe despite your problems you two have potential to become great shinobi in the future, said Kakashi, making up an excuse why they truly pass. It is most likely he doesn't want to get in trouble with the civilian council for failing Sasuke and Sakura, thought Naruto. So now on we Team 7, said Kakashi. Yes, I'm going to be with Sasuke no matter what, thought Sakura. He seems pretty good, maybe he can help me get stronger, thought Sasuke. Okay, let's re-meet at the Hokage's mansion for our first mission as a team, said Kakashi. As Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura left Kakashi alone, he had one thought going through his head. The Hokage's is going to want to know what happened, thought Kakashi as he walked towards the Hokage's office. At the Hokage's office, stood in front of the Hokage was 8 Jonin, however there should be 9 if Kakashi had shown up. Okay, seeing that Kakashi is going to be late, why don't we begin? Please tell me in order which team pass and which didn't, said Hiruzen. Team 1 fail, said the Jonin 1 hash. Team 2 fail, said the Jonin 2 hash. Team 3 fail, said the Jonin 3 hash. Team 4 fail, said the Jonin 4 hash. Team 5 fail, said the Jonin 5 hash. Team 6 fail, said the Jonin 6 hash. Team 8 pass, said the only women. Team 10 pass, said the last man. So Asuma and Kurenai, why don't you tell us about your test? Hiruzen asked. The women was Kurenai Yuhi, the sensei for Team 8. She had fair skin and long black untamed hair that reached her upper back and had unique color eyes. Taught were red and had an additional ring in them. She had makeup, red lipstick and purple eyeshadow. She was wearing a red mesh armor blouse with only the right sleeve visible. Overall, this is very broad material which resembles bandages with a pattern on it similar to those of a rose thorns. Her hands and her upper thighs were wrapped in bandages and she wore regular shinobi sandals and her Konoha headband. That the man was Asuma Sarutobi, the sensei for Team 10. He was a tall man with olive skin and short black hair with a beard and brown eyes. He wore the standard Konoha uniform but with a sash that had the kanji for fire mark on it around his waist. Because my team was made to be a tracker squad, I thought to see if they were able, so my test for them was to find a couple of items that I hidden in the training ground and the forest, which succeed in by working together. Hinata use her Byakugan to locate them, then Shino use his insects to find the traps I set, and Kiba use his quick reflexes to receive them, said Kurenai. As for my team, I created different puzzles for them, forcing them to work as a team. Choji and Shikamaru didn't have a problem with it, however Ino on the other hand took some time to agree and chip in, said Asuma. Suddenly in a proof of smoke Kakashi appeared reading his orange book. Hey, said Kakashi. Thanks for joining us Kakashi. Now as everyone else has already revealed, maybe you can share as well, said Hiruzen. Well, my team pass, said Kakashi, surprising everyone because Kakashi had never passed anyone before. Everyone whose team didn't pass please leave, said Hiruzen, and 6 Jonin left the room. Now Kakashi, please tell us what happened, Hiruzen said, curious. After I announce it, all 3 of them disappear into the forest, but I still could sense where Sasuke and Sakura was. However, I couldn't find Naruto. Then I walk into the forest and found Sakura straight away, who was shouting and looking for Sasuke, so I use a genjutsu on her which caused her to pass out. Then I left her and walk out of the forest, but only to find Sasuke, who thrown a couple of kunai and shuriken at my head. But I managed to avoid them. Then he came out and fought me head on, and from it I saw that he had completely mastered the Uchiha clan fighting style, the interceptor style, and he was at least Chunin level in speed. And after a bit Sasuke then performed the fireball jutsu at him, which I have to admit caught me by surprise. However, I replaced myself with a log, and after when he was looking for me to get the bells, but I went underground and then I used the earth jutsu double suicide decapitation technique to trap Sasuke, said Kakashi. What about Naruto? What did he do? Said Hiruzen. Well, that what really caught me by surprise, said Kakashi, causing everyone else to get even more curious. After I trapped Sasuke, Sakura came out of the forest and she then went to help Sasuke to get him free, and just then Naruto appeared and was ready to try to get the bells from me. The first thing that caught my attention was his taijutsu stance. It was like a mix my sensei's and Lady Kushina, said Kakashi, shocking everyone. Are you certain of this, Kakashi? Hiruzen. Yeah, and when we fought it was indeed a mix between them. It had Sensei's quick moves as well as Kushina's brutality and Naruto's speed. It was way beyond what a genin should be capable of, like a Jonin level, said Kakashi, shocking everyone further away. Dame, that sounds impressive, said Asuma. Yeah, and as well fought. He did a flip in the air and started to kick me, but only to distract me so he could grab one of the bells. When I saw this, I kicked him away, but he picked himself up straight away and then the shadow clone jutsu and created 10 clones whilst he ran into the forest. After I handled the clones as quickly as I could, I follow after him, which I regret, said Kakashi. Why's that, Kakashi? Kurenai asked curiously. After I walk in the forest, I got hit by a powerful wind jutsu, which I think was the great breakthrough technique, but I can't be sure. Anyways, it sent me flying in a couple of trees, and when I got back up I was kicked in the back by Naruto, said Kakashi, shocking everyone again, especially Hiruzen, because he knew that Naruto already has lightning chakra nature, but it shows that Naruto already has two. Wow, that sounds brutal, said Asuma, who was also curious about the wind jutsu that Naruto used. Yeah, tell me about. And here's another shocker. He then pulled out a sword, which is none other than Kushina's the Crimson Blade, said Kakashi. What? But how's that possible? No one knew where it was after the attack, said Kurenai. I don't how, but I knew it meant trouble for me, so I took out 2 kunais, and when Naruto started attacking me with it, he showed that he was skilled in kenjutsu. However, after a while he had enough and start to channel his chakra though the sword and shatter my kunais with one upper swing, said Kakashi as he took the part of the kunais that he was holding when it happened. Wow, that kid sounds dangerous, said Asuma. Kakashi, are you saying that Naruto knows chakra flow technique, said Hiruzen. Yeah, I was surprised by it too, and then I thought that it would better if I go somewhere with more room so I can avoid Naruto's attacks easily. However, as I jump away, something came flying past me and cut through the branch that I was about to step on, which forced me to land back on the ground. After I did, I looked back to what it was, and all I saw was Naruto with Kushina's sword in his hands, said Kakashi. What was it, Kakashi? What did he do? Said Hiruzen, who wanted to know what happened. I didn't know at first until I saw the chakra on the sword, and it wasn't normal chakra as before. Instead, from the way it looked, it was wind chakra, and then I was proven right when Naruto did a slash in the wind at me and shouted wind slash, and it created a crescent-shaped blade of wind which headed right for me at a quick phase. However, I managed to dodge but cut my bottom left leg, and it carried on and hit and cut down a tree behind me and another one behind that one, said Kakashi. I never heard of such a wind technique before. Have you, Asuma? Said Kurenai. No, I haven't, and I got to admit it sounds like useful technique to have, said Asuma. And very dangerous when it is used on you, let me tell ya, said Kakashi as he lifted up his pants on his left leg to saw the cut that he got from Naruto. Wow, the kid did that to you, said Asuma. Yeah, and I'm only thankful that it didn't hit me somewhere serious, said Kakashi. Kakashi, please continue your report, said Hiruzen, who wanted to know everything Kakashi discovered. Well, after that I quickly continue my out of the forest. Whilst Naruto followed behind me and sended many of that wind jutsu at me, cutting down lots of trees, and when I finally made it out and tried to catch my breath, I saw Sakura helping Sasuke out of my trap. However, when Naruto showed up, he put his sword into the ground. So he used hand to perform a ninjutsu at me, and it was the same jutsu that you told me, Hokage-san, that he used on Mizuki, but it was way more powerful, which caught me in surprise. However, when it was finished and he walked over to me to get the bells, I appeared behind him after using the body replacement technique to escape his attack. I then desired to perform a jutsu of my own, the 1000 years of death. However, just as I did it, he exploded, showing that he knows the clone great explosion as well, which caught me off by surprise again. And then Naruto appeared and started to throw kunais and shurikens at me, but before he could continue, my alarm went off, said Kakashi. So how come they passed then? Kurenai asked. Well, after telling them what they did wrong, Naruto revealed that he actually managed to get them off without me noticing, said Kakashi, shocking everyone. But how's that possible? Said Kurenai. He said when he used his wind jutsu on me, which sent me flying into a couple of trees, one of his shadow clones stealthily got them off me, said Kakashi. But how come Sasuke and Sakura pass? Said Asuma. Well, if didn't pass Sasuke, the civilian council will cause trouble, and if I didn't pass Sakura, her aunt will get the other members to join her and cause trouble, said Kakashi. Fair point, said Asuma. I think that's all of today, Asuma. Kurenai, I need to talk with Kakashi privately, said Hiruzen. Once Asuma and Kurenai left, Hiruzen became serious. So what do you think then after seeing that? Said Hiruzen. I got to admit something is going on with Naruto, because no fresh genin should be that strong, said Kakashi. Yes, ever since his 5th birthday after the attack he had become distant from everyone including me. I even had some of my Anbu follow him to see where he goes in his free time, but every time he disappear without a trace, said Hiruzen. And where exactly did he get Kushina's sword, because nobody could find where she kept it after the Kyuubi attack, said Kakashi. Yes, and after the incident with Mizuki I sent my Anbu to bring Naruto to me, but they couldn't find him and he wasn't at his apartment all night. I know because my Anbu waited all night for him to show. It wasn't until the next morning when he was eating ramen at Ichiraku when they finally brought him to me, and then he revealed that he didn't need the apartment at all because he has somewhere else to live, and when asked where he won't reveal it to me, said Hiruzen. So what do you want me to do, Hokage-san? Said Kakashi. I want you to find out anything on Naruto, like where does he train, what does he do, who is training him in secret, and where does he currently live now, said Hiruzen. Hi Hokage-san, said Kakashi before disappearing. I must make sure Naruto isn't secretly working with any of our enemies for the good of the village, thought Hiruzen. Deep within the forest that surrounded Konoha, something was running straight away from Konoha very quickly, and if someone could see in its eyes they'd be able to see it had hope of escaping. I got to hurry or they will find me and bring me back to that thing, thought the creature. I think it went this way. Someone shouted very loudly. Damn it, I thought it would take them longer to find my tracks, thought the creature. But just then someone with dark purple animal-like eyes appeared right in front of the creature and reached out and grabbed the creature. Damn it, thought the creature. Kakashi-sensei, I have the cat, said the person. Back to normal. Great work Naruto, I think that sets a new record, said Kakashi over the headset. But Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke-kun and I did all the work whilst all Naruto did was nothing until now. Shouldn't he get in trouble for not helping us sooner? Sakura complained. Well, I thought that you and Sasuke needed to improve your stamina and I saw this opportunity to help you, said Naruto, lying completely whilst in truth he just didn't want to do this mission, seeing that this was a pointless mission, but tired of waiting for Sasuke and Sakura to catch Tora, so he desired to step in. Shut up Naruto, or else. Sakura shouted. Or else what? Your threads don't scare me, said Naruto. Now everyone calm down Naruto, bring Tora back to the village, but be careful, she might try to escape, said Kakashi. Yes Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto. I wonder why it runs away a lot, thought Naruto as he carried the cat back to the village. At the Hokage's office. That explain it, thought Naruto as look at the scene in front of him. Right in front of him Naruto watches Madame Shijimi, the wife of Daimyo of the Land of Fire, hug, strangled Tora. Great job Team 7. Now as for your next mission, you can choose from helping with the client's grocery, paint another client fence, or babysit, said Iruka. Tora come back, said Madame Shijimi. Or now bring Tora back to Madame Shijimi, said Iruka. No way, Sasuke-kun deserves a better assistant than any of these pointless ones. Sakura shouted, which Sasuke agreed with but didn't say anything. These mission ain't pointless Sakura, they are to help you to improve your teamwork for future mission that are higher in rank, Iruka explained. I need harder missions so that I can become even stronger, said Sasuke. You're not ready for them, you're just a brand new genin team, said Iruka. Uruka, if they think they are ready for a higher rank mission, why don't we give them AC rank if you think they ready, Kakashi, said Hiruzen. Yeah, sure, said Kakashi as he continued to read his book. Okay, please bring in the client, said Hiruzen to a Jonin. After a couple of minutes, a old man walk. These are the shinobi that I hire, they look like they belong in school, said the old man. Mr. Tazuna, please don't underestimate my genin because of their age, said Hiruzen. I'm just saying that I wanted real shinobi, not childer. Before Tazuna could finish his sentence, he felt something sharp against his neck. As Tazuna slightly turned his head around, he saw Naruto hold a kunai against his neck. Listen to our Hokage and don't underestimate me, got it? Said Naruto seriously, scaring Tazuna. Whilst this happened, everyone else in the room all thought about what just happened. How did he get there so fast? Thought Sakura. I should be the one to be able to move like that, Sasuke thought angrily and jealousy. At least I know that this mission isn't going to be that difficult, it being AC rank and having Naruto will just make it that more easier, thought Kakashi. So Kakashi wasn't overestimate Naruto's speed, thought Hiruzen. I still find it hard to believe a new genin has that kind of power, thought Iruka. What the hell, thought Tazuna. Naruto, it's bad for business to threaten the client, said Hiruzen. Yes, Hokage-san, said Naruto as he pulled his kunai away and then walked back. You see, Tazuna, don't underestimate my shinobi, even the genin, said Hiruzen. Why, yeah, sure, said Tazuna, who was still a bit scared. Okay team, let's at the west gate in 2 hours, bring only things that you need, said Kakashi. 4 hours at Konoha's west gate. Right now Sasuke and Sakura were waiting for Kakashi and Naruto for over 2 hours. Where the hell are they? Sakura shouted. Why do I always get stuck alone with her, thought Sasuke. But just then Kakashi appeared with Tazuna. Yo, said Kakashi simply. Where the hell have you been? Sakura shouted. Well, you see, I got lost on the path of life, said Kakashi with a lame excuses. Bullshit, Sakura shouted. Anyway, where's Naruto? Kakashi asked. He hasn't shown up yet, said Sakura. However, just as Sakura that Naruto appeared right in front of everyone. Is it time to leave? Naruto asked simply. Yeah, 2 hours ago. Where the hell have you been? Sakura shouted. Around, and besides, I have already told you twice that Kakashi is always 2 hours late for Missisen, said Naruto. Anyways, is everyone ready, because it's going to take us a couple of days to get the Land of Waves, said Kakashi. Wait, Sakura shouted. Yes, what is it, Sakura? Said Kakashi. Naruto doesn't have anything with him for the Missisen, said Sakura. What's the point of carry it whiles I can just seal it into a scroll, said Naruto as he pulled out a scroll. He knows how to seal things. Sure, the storage scrolls are easiest to learn, but still, who taught him how to do that, thought Kakashi. Then seal both my and Sasuke-kun's bags in there as well, said Sakura. No, said Naruto simply. Why not? Sakura shouted. Because it isn't my fault that you don't know how to do seal things yourself, said Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, make Naruto seal our things as well, said Sakura. I will not, because he has a point storage scroll are useful in our line of work, so you two really should learn how to do it yourselves as well, but until then you will have to carry your things the old-fashioned way, said Kakashi. After that, all of Team 7 and Tazuna left the village and made their way to the Land of Waves. As they walked, Sakura desired that it was a perfect time to ask Tazuna a couple of questions about the Land of Waves. So Tazuna, didn't you hire any shinobi from the Land of Waves? Said Sakura. Sakura, not every nation has a shinobi village, said Kakashi. How come, Kakashi-sensei? Said Sakura. Many nations can't afford the funding for a shinobi village as it is costly, said Kakashi. Oh, I see, said Sakura. However, in the Land of Iron, instead of having shinobi they have samurais, said Kakashi. Samurais? Said Sasuke. Masters of Kenjutsu and the ones from the Land of Iron, said Kakashi. Interesting, thought Sasuke. As they continue their way, they saw a puddle in the middle of the road, which was strange because it hasn't rained for couple days, and as they pass it, only Naruto and Kakashi knew the truth, whilst Tazuna, Sasuke and Sakura didn't have a quote. Suddenly metal chains appeared wrap around Kakashi, and then two men appear with large clawed gauntlet which had one end of the chains around Kakashi attached to it. One had the gauntlet of his right hand whilst the other had it on his left hand. Both of them had shoulder-length wild dark brown hair and dark eyes. He wore a rebreather that covered the lower half of his face like Kakashi with his mask, a camouflage suit with bandages around his waists, dark-colored knee-length sandals and a ragged black cape, and around his forehead he had the Kurigakure headband. However, one had a single horn on it whilst the other had two horns on his. Then both men pulled on the chains which tear Kakashi in pieces. Aarrrrrrr. Sakura scream in horror. If he goes down that easy, then he was worthless to me after all and not worthy of the Sharingan, thought Sasuke. One down, four to go, said the one with only one horn. This is going to easy, brother, said the one with two horns. Then both men changed at Sasuke and Sakura, who were standing next to Tazuna and were going cut his with claws on their gauntlet which had poison on them. However, before they could, Naruto threw a kunai in the middle of the chains which stopped them in their tracks. Nice move, kid, said the one with only one horn. But is no way enough to stop us, said the one with two horns. Both men then press a hidden button within their gauntlets that disattach the chain, freeing them from Naruto's kunai. However, as one of them continued to for Tazuna and the other brother went at Naruto. You're dead, kid, said the one with two horns. No, I'm not, said Naruto as he used his superior speed and reflexes to jump above the man, and then with his sword Naruto pierced through the man's right shoulder. Aarrrrrrr. The man screamed in pain. Brother, said the other man, shouted with concern for his brother. You really shouldn't look away from an enemy, you know, said a voice behind him, and as the man quickly turned his head he saw the man that he and his brother just killed, who then knocked him out cold. Kakashi-sensei, you're alive, but how? Said Sakura, relief. I use the replacement technique to allow them to think they kill me, said Kakashi. Isn't that a bit dangerous? Said Tazuna. I did it to see who they were aiming for, said Kakashi. Look at Tazuna seriously. What do you mean? Said Tazuna, getting nervously. They were after you, Tazuna. Care to explain yourself? Said Kakashi. Fine, you got me. These men were hired to kill me by Gato, said Tazuna. Wait, Gato for Gato Shipping Company? Why would he do that? Said Kakashi. Because he has taken over my whole village by force, said Tazuna. How did he, Tazuna-san? Said Sakura. My village only has one way of getting anything, that is those shipping, and Gato knew this, so he took out any competition, raised the price, and had hired an army of bandits and thugs so that if anybody tries anything against him they would kill them, said Tazuna. But why would he send men after you? Said Kakashi. Because I'm trying to build a bridge which will connect us to the mainland, said Tazuna. Which will end Gato's rule over your village, said Kakashi. Yes, exactly, that's why he wants me dead, because without me the bridge will never be finished, said Tazuna. Tazuna then went on his hands and feet in front of Team 7. I beg you, please continue the mission, Tazuna begged. You pay for AC rank mission, meaning that we will fight off bandits and thugs. Yeah, sure, but after these two it's obvious that Gato has higher shinobi, which will make this a rank mission, but I think you knew that, said Kakashi. That was all money we could muster up, but if you complete the mission we will pay you in full, said Tazuna. I don't know, said Kakashi, because he wanted to help Tazuna, but it will mean putting his genin in danger. Kakashi-sensei, I believe we should continue on with the mission, said Naruto. Naruto, this is serious, we can just rush ahead, said Kakashi. That's not what I'm saying, we take our time and plan ahead, and also you are missing one important thing that we can achieve for the village if we success in this mission, said Naruto. And what's that? Said Kakashi. We can create a trade route for our land with the land of waves, said Naruto. Naruto then looked to Tazuna, who nodded his head, agreeing with Naruto's idea. That's true, creating another trade route will be great for the village and the land of fire, thought Kakashi. What do you two think? Said Kakashi. I say we continue on, said Sasuke. This may be a good opportunity to test my strength, thought Sasuke. Yeah, we finish this mission, said Sakura. I can't let Sasuke-kun down, thought Sakura. Okay Tazuna, we will continue the mission, said Kakashi. Thank you so much, said Tazuna. As they continue their way to Tazuna's village, they had to stop and had to hire a rowboat to get there, and as they got closer they saw something huge within the mist. What's that? Sakura asked. Well, that people is, said Tazuna. As they got closer it revealed a massive unfinished bridge. My bridge, said Tazuna. It's huge, said Sakura. Well, yeah, it has to be, said Tazuna. Because of how many people will use it, said Naruto. Yes, exactly, said Tazuna. The rower then informed them that he couldn't take them all the way because Gato's men may spot them, and as they finally reach land Naruto sensed something in a brush, so he threw a kunai at it, but then a pure white rabbit ran out from the brush scared. Naruto, you massive idiot, you almost hurt that poor rabbit. Sakura shouted. No, there was something there, I know it, thought Naruto. Wait, that rabbit's fur, it's white, it doesn't belong in this land, thought Kakashi. Suddenly Kakashi sensed something headed straight for them. Everyone down now, Kakashi shouted. As they all duck in time, a large blade flew past them and was embedded in a tree, and then a man appeared standing on it. The man was tall and noticeably muscular build with pale skin, he had black hair and brown eyes, he had bandages around the lower half of his face and his forehead protector was sideways, he was shirtless but had a belt going across his chest and wore baggy pants and mimetic wrist warmer extending up to his elbows with matching leg warmer. That sword, it's Kubikiribocho, or otherwise known as the Executioner Blade, one of the 7 swords of the mist, so it's you Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist, said Kakashi. I'm flattered that Kakashi Hatake, the copycat ninja, knows who I am, said Zabuza. So Gato has even higher you, said Kakashi. Yeah, so why don't you choose the easy way and just hand over the bridge builder, said Zabuza. I can't do that, Zabuza, said Kakashi. Well, in that case, said Zabuza. Zabuza then ripped his blade from the tree and jumped on to the lake and was standing on it. It's the hard way then, said Zabuza. Stay and guard Tazuna, I will handle Zabuza, said Kakashi. But how will you handle me if you can't see me, said Zabuza as he began doing a couple of hand signs. Hidden mist, just you, said Zabuza. Then a thick mist appeared which covered everything, making it impossible to see anything and making Zabuza disappear. He's going to do the silent killing technique, it is his village's specialty, thought Kakashi. Suddenly Zabuza appeared in the middle of Tazuna, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura and was ready to cut them in half with his executioner blade. However, as he was about to chop Tazuna in half, he was stopped by Naruto, who blocked it with his sword. Oh, impressive, a mere genin managed to block my attack so well, said Zabuza before disappearing in the mist again. I have no choice, I got to use it, said Kakashi. Kakashi then lifted up his headband to reveal his other eye, which was red with 3 times in it. Are you famous the Sharingan eye, said Zabuza within the mist. So he does possess the Sharingan, but how does he have it, thought Sasuke. The Sharingan, what's that? Sakura asked curiously. The Sharingan is the legendary bloodline of the Uchiha clan, which allows the user to see their opponent's movements and copy them, as well as cast powerful genjutsu over them just by looking into their eyes, Sasuke said with pride. Wow, said Sakura. But suddenly everyone felt an overwhelming sense of killer instinct coming from within the mist. 8 point, said Zabuza within the mist. Which should I choose, the liver, lungs, spine, heart, kidneys, throat, larynx, subclavian artery, and the last the brain, said Zabuza. He's using his killer instinct to intimidate us, thought Kakashi. It's a good thing that Kurama helped train me to withstand killing instinct, thought Naruto. Sakura was so scared of Zabuza's killer instinct she couldn't even move an inch. Why are I shaking him so much, thought Sasuke as he looked at his hand which was shaking. I got to make it go away, thought Sasuke as he lifted one of his kunais closer to his throat, but stopped when he heard Kakashi's voice. Sasuke, calm down, I promise I would allow any of you get hurt, okay, said Kakashi, hoping to calm Sasuke's nervous, which it did. I wouldn't make promises that you can't keep, Kakashi, said Zabuza, who appeared behind and was ready to attack. However, Kakashi brought a kunai and sliced Zabuza's throat just in time, but instead of blood there was water. Then Zabuza's whole body turned into a puddle of water. A water clone, then that means. Kakashi thought as he turned his head just to see Zabuza, who then cut Kakashi in half. However, just like Zabuza, both halves of Kakashi turned into puddles of water. He made a water clone just like I did, damn it, that copycat shit, thought Zabuza. This over, Zabuza, Kakashi said as he held a kunai against Zabuza's throat. I don't think so, said Zabuza as he then turned in another puddle of water. Another water clone, thought Kakashi. Zabuza then appeared behind Kakashi and kicked him in the back. However, Kakashi managed to turn around and block it, but the force from it sent him flying into the lake. As Kakashi tried to channel his chakra so he will be able to stand on the water, he felt something wrong with the water, like it was heavier, and that was when Kakashi realized why, but it was too late because Zabuza was standing over him. Water prison jutsu, said Zabuza as he held his left hand out and the water around Kakashi formed into a ball, trapping both Kakashi and Zabuza's left hand. Damn it, I fell right into his trap, thought Kakashi. Haha, I can't believe you fell for it, said Zabuza. Oh no, Kakashi-sensei, said Sakura, worry for her sensei. Just great, said Sasuke. This is bad, said Tazuna. However, unlike everyone else's reaction, Naruto's was different. So be it, said Naruto as he walked towards Zabuza and Kakashi with his in hand. I'll use my Sharingan against him as well, thought Naruto as he channeled his chakra in the seal, activating his Sharingan. Oh, so you think you can save your sensei, do ya? Said Zabuza. Naruto, you got chance against someone like him, said Kakashi. Yeah, you better listen to your sensei or else, said Zabuza. However, just kept walking towards them, and when he reached the water, Naruto then started to channel chakra, though his feet like Zabuza is doing, to allow him to walk on the water. He knows the water surface walking practice as well, but how? Kakashi thought curiously. I don't have time to waste on a Marigenin like you, said Zabuza as he did a hand sign with his free hand. Suddenly the water in front of Zabuza rose and formed into another Zabuza. Deal with him, said the real Zabuza. The water clone of Zabuza then drew out its own executioner blade and changed at Naruto, and everyone thought it was the end for the blonde hair leaf genin, but in a blink of an eye it was over. Naruto was a bit closer to real Zabuza whilst the water clone was now headless, then it turned back into water. Everyone just stood where they were in shock. What the? Said Sakura. No way, said Sasuke. How did he do that? Said Tazuna. Where did he learn to do something like that? Thought Kakashi. Impressive kid, I didn't expect something like that, said Zabuza. Or this, said Naruto as he channeled one of his unique chakras, though the hand that wasn't holding his sword, and then as he lifted his hand up, shooting out of his palm came out gold chains made out of Naruto's chakra. What the fuck? Said Zabuza. What is that? Said Sakura. What are those things? Sasuke thought curiously. Those are the same chains that Kushina had, Kakashi thought in shock. Naruto chains headed straight for Zabuza's left wrist, and as he saw them coming he knew that he didn't have a choice but to let go of his water prison over Kakashi. However, as he did, Naruto's chains did manage to cut Zabuza's left palm, and as Kakashi saw this he was shocked again. Wait, Kushina's chains could do physical harm, only suppress someone's chakra or be used in sealing, so how come? Thought Kakashi as he made his way back to the other. Kakashi-sensei, are you alright? Sakura shouted. No, using the Sharingan uses a lot of chakra, and with the water prison jutsu which weakens the person who is captured by it, I'm going to need a minute, said Kakashi. But will Naruto be able to hold out that long? Said Sakura. I hope so, said Kakashi. But after doing the bell test and that it seems he still hasn't shown everything he knows yet, there's no doubt about he will be okay, thought Kakashi. Damn it, what the hell are those things? Thought Zabuza. The chakra chain then retreated back into Naruto's hand. Interesting trick you got there, kid, said Zabuza. Naruto didn't say anything, he just disappear in a burst of speed, but he then reappear straight in front of Zabuza and began to attack Zabuza with his sword. However, Zabuza did manage to block them with his executioner blade thanks to all of his experienced swordsmanship. He's actually pretty good with kenjutsu, Zabuza thought whilst actually being impressed. As Naruto and Zabuza battle in kenjutsu, shocking both Sasuke and Sakura. However, just then Zabuza kicked the water to splash Naruto, making him back up for a second, which allows Zabuza to begin his attacks on his, but because of Naruto's speed and Sharingan, Zabuza couldn't land any hits on Naruto until he managed to kick Naruto's sword out of his hands when Naruto tried to attack Zabuza from behind, but Zabuza did a back kick which disarmed Naruto. Then he swung his executioner blade down upon Naruto but was blocked by something. Naruto had channeled his chakra mode and had created almost identical executioner blade, but it was a gold glowing malleable chakra version of the executioner blade. It's a gold version of Kinshiki Otsutsuki tool creation technique. What the fuck? Thought Zabuza. What is that? Said Sakuya. That's not possible, said Kakashi, shock. What is Kakashi sensei? Said Sakuya. It's like the ability to create those chakra chains you just saw, but he shouldn't be able to create other things than those chakra chains, said Kakashi. I wonder why only he can do something like that whilst Kushina couldn't, thought Kakashi curiously. Damn it, kid, another trick, said Zabuza. A shinobi should have more than just one trick, said Naruto. True enough, said Zabuza. Then Zabuza and Naruto both jump away from each other, and Zabuza saw that Naruto wasn't having any difficulty holding his version of the executioner blade at all, which was strange because for someone to be able to lift the executioner blade they need to be strong, and the reason why Naruto wasn't having difficulty was simple, because the blade was made from his unique Uzumaki chakra, meaning every weapon he can make from it will weigh nothing to him, but to anybody else it will be like the real thing. But suddenly two kunais came flying at Zabuza, who managed to block them with ease. Then Kakashi appeared standing next to Naruto. Naruto, I'll handle this, so go back to the others, said Kakashi. No, Kakashi sensei, said Naruto. What, why? Said Kakashi. Because you haven't fully recovered yet and you might be recaptured, said Naruto. Fine, but Naruto, be careful, said Kakashi. Enough of this, said Zabuza, who had enough of waiting. Kakashi saw this with and began doing exactly the same hand signs as Zabuza thanks to his Sharingan. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, said Zabuza as a dragon made out of water rose from the lake behind him. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, said Kakashi as a dragon made out of water rose from the lake behind him. Then both water dragons change and clash against each other, causing a large splash of water. He was able to copy and perform my jutsu, thought Zabuza. Zabuza then saw Naruto doing a couple of hand signs which he recognized. Water style. Water tidal waves, said Naruto as he unleashed a large water tidal waves towards Zabuza. He already has their chakra natures, Kakashi thought, surprised. What the hell, is he really a genin? Thought Zabuza. As Naruto's water jutsu slammed into Zabuza, which then sent him into a tree, but Zabuza did manage to pick himself up, but just as he did, a couple Senbon came flying out of nowhere and hit his neck, dropping him. Then in a tree above Zabuza appeared a person wear a standard Kurigakure pinstripes outfit which stop at his knees within green houri with white trimming over it, and around his waist a brown slash, as well as sandals with an Anbu Black Ops mask with the symbol of the Hidden Mist Village on it, which hid his face completely. Thank you for dealing with Zabuza for me, I have been tracking him for a while now, said the mask before he disappeared and then reappeared next to Zabuza. Kakashi sensei, who is that? Sakura asked curiously. That Sakura is a hunter nin, said Kakashi. A hunter nin, said Sakura. They specialist in tracking rouge ninjas from their village, said Kakashi. But for his voice sounds only a bit older than these three, thought Kakashi. I will be taking my leave, said the masked man before he disappeared. Okay, let's continue on out, Missy. Before Kakashi could finish, he passed out of the floor. Kakashi sensei. shouted two of his genin. In the land of waves and inside of a house that was close to the ocean and within one of its rooms was Kakashi resting up after his fight against Zabuza. When Kakashi passed out, Tazuna offered to carry him so that the remaining members of Team 7 could protect him properly, and when they got to Tazuna's house and as they lay him down to rest, Naruto then informed everyone that Kakashi's condition wasn't any physical damage but instead it was chakra exhaustion, which he knew because of his sensing ability. As Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, was walking up the stairs, she heard a noise from the room where they put Kakashi, and as she opened the door she saw that Kakashi was starting to wake up, so she quickly went downstairs to inform everyone, who then all went upstairs to see Kakashi. "Where am I?" said Kakashi as he rubbed his eyes. "Kakashi-sensei, you're finally awake," Sakura shouted. "What happened?" Kakashi asked. "Well, after your fight with Zabuza we took you straight to Tazuna's house to recover," said Sakura. "I see, so how long was I out?" said Kakashi. "Just a day," said Sasuke. "So are you all right now, Kakashi?" said Tazuna. "Yeah, it's a side effect of using the Sharingan," said Kakashi. "Side effect?" Sasuke asked, confused as he never heard of a side effect using the Sharingan like that. "Well, you see, I'm not actually from the Uchiha clan, so I didn't get the Sharingan naturally, and because I'm not a Uchiha it puts a lot of stress on my body from using it," Kakashi explained. "I don't suffer those side effects because I'm a Uzumaki, meaning that I naturally possess a strong as well as me being a Jinchuriki," thought Naruto. "If it does that much damage to you, Kakashi-sensei, then why do you use it then?" said Sakura. "Because during my career as a shinobi and I have face of against strong opponents, so I had no choice but to use it," said Kakashi. "I questions for you, Kakashi-sensei," said Sasuke. "What is it, Sasuke?" said Kakashi, while he already had a good idea of what it is. "How exactly did you get my clan's bloodline in the first place?" said Sasuke. "For my former teammate Obito Uchiha," said Kakashi. "What, did you just take the eye from him?" said Sasuke. "No, I didn't steal it," told Kakashi firmly. "Then how did you get it then?" said Sasuke. "I wouldn't go into much detail about it, but during the Third Great Ninja War my teammates and I were sent on a mission to Kanab Bridge and events happened there where I lost my original left eye and got this scar, but worst of all, Obito dies saving but not before giving me this left eye of his," said Kakashi sadly. "I think we talk about something more recently," said Naruto. "Like what, Naruto?" said Kakashi. "At the fact that Zabuza is still alive and will be coming here to finish the job," said Naruto, shocking everyone. "Don't make up lies like that, Naruto," Sakura shouted loudly. "Sakura, Naruto isn't lying," said Kakashi. "What do you mean, Kakashi sensie?" Sakura shouted. "I mean exactly what Naruto just said, Zabuza is still alive," said Kakashi. "How is that possible, Kakashi-sensei?" Sakura shouted while Sasuke didn't say anything, but he still wanted to know. "Because of what the hunter nin used and what he didn't use," said Kakashi. "What do you mean, Kakashi-sensei?" said Sakura. "I mean, as the tool he used was Senbon instead of kunais or shurikens, which would be the obvious to take someone down, and then he just took the body. Normally a hunter nin would just dispose of the body and obviously take the executioner blade because it belongs to Kurigakure," said Kakashi. "Don't you think you're overthinking about this?" said Tazuna. "Tazuna, it is our job to be prepared for anything," said Kakashi. "So what do you think we should do then, Kakashi-sensei?" said Naruto. "We should train for the worst," said Kakashi. "Train?" said Sasuke and Sakura. "Yes, to get you two prepared for a upcoming battle," said Kakashi. "Two, but there is three of us, Kakashi-sensei," said Sakura. "Yes, you and Sasuke need to get stronger if you be able to help Naruto and I in the next fight against Zabuza and that fake hunter nin," said Kakashi. "What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying that I'm far weaker than him?" Sasuke said angrily. "Yes, because during the fight against Zabuza it was Naruto who kept him busy whiles I recover and was the one use that powerful water-style ninjutsu to send him flying into the trees," said Kakashi. Yeah, about that. Hey Naruto, what were those techniques that you used to create those weapons from? Said Sakura curiously while Sasuke was eager to know as well. That's none of your business, said Naruto. What do you mean it's none of our business? We're your teammates, ain't we? Sakura shouted angrily. Point at Sakura, you're just being nosy. Point at Sasuke, all he just wants to know if he could learn it. Point at Kakashi, but Sensei here already knows all about it, said Naruto. In that case, Kakashi Sensei, can you tell us about Naruto's weapon creating technique, said Sakura. Kakashi looked at Naruto, who was giving a glance which basically means, don't you even dare. Sorry, I'm not at liberty to say anything, said Kakashi. Why not? Sakura whined. By the Hokage orders, said Kakashi lying. Kakashi then turned to look at Tazuna. Now then Tazuna, do you know any place where I can train these two? Said Kakashi. There is a forest nearby, you can use it for training if you want, said Tazuna. Okay then, thank you Naruto, can you stay with Tazuna and his family to guard them if anything happens, said Kakashi as he picked himself up but was still feeling weak. Wait right there, I got something that might help a bit, said Tazuna before he left the room. When Tazuna returned, he was holding crutches. Okay, we are off, and Naruto, if anything happens, use the flare to signal us, said Kakashi before leaving with Sasuke and Sakura. Half hour later. Okay everyone, let's get to work and finish this bridge for the families, said Tazuna to his men. This bridge is so massive and I have to protect all of these workers, thought Naruto before doing a couple of hand signs. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto, and in a proof of smoke 30 Narutos appeared who then all scatter and hide around the bridge, then they each place a seal on where they were. However, as for the real Naruto, he left the bridge and went into the forest. Each of my clone has the exactly same high sensor skill as me, so they be able to know if any enemies are coming, and as all of them place the Hiraishin seal where they are at, and I will be able to get there in a second, thought Naruto. As Naruto continued to walk through the forest, he then desired to use his sensor ability to find any other shinobi in the area and to make sure that he doesn't run into Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura, because Kakashi would get angrily at him for leaving Tazuna, and then he would most likely ask how we'll be able to get back to the bridge fast enough if something did happen there, which Naruto doesn't want to reveal that he knows the Flying Thunder God technique just yet. Kakashi and the others are a bit to the east, but I can't seem to find anybody else. Maybe Gato has barrier jutsu around his secret base perhaps, thought Naruto before he then bit one of his fingers which drew blood, then he wiped it on his right palm, then he did a couple of hand signs and slammed his right hand down to the ground. Summoning just you, said Naruto as a seal appeared on the ground around his right hand, and in a proof of smoke a orange fox that had a headband similar to Naruto's, but instead of having the Konoha symbol it had the Uzumaki clan one. Hey Naruto, said the fox. Hi Shingo, I need your help, said Naruto. Sure, what do you need? Said Shingo. I can't seem to find a certain base which I know will have people who be able to use chakra, should be weak but still I should be able to sense them, and I know there isn't anything wrong with my sensing because I can still sense my teammates, said Naruto. Any ideas what I should smell for? Said Shingo. Try smelling something like alcohol or even drugs, said Naruto. Yeah, I smell a whole lot of it, said Shingo. Okay, lead the way Shingo, said Naruto. Sometime later at Gato's secret base. As Naruto followed Shingo deeper into the forest, they finally found what they were looking for, Gato's hidden headquarters. As Naruto looked at it, he saw that it wasn't a tall building, but he guessed Gato had built it underground inside, and this part was just the entrance. But the thing that still caught his attention was that ever though he can see the base, he still couldn't sense anyone from it. Minos, let's do that just you before we go in, said Naruto. Right, said Minos. Ninja art. Beast sense connection, said Naruto. Ninja art. Human sense connection, said Minos. The technique allow the summoner and the summoned to connect their senses with each other. In other words, for a summon like a fox who are great at hiding, they could watch events without being detected, whilst the summoner will be able to watch it as well, and also allow the summoner to speak with the summon though thought. Alright, let's go, said Naruto. Just before they entered Gato's base, Naruto placed a Hiraishin seal on a tree for a quick escape. Then they split up. Minos then turned invisible and went down a one hallway whilst Naruto went the other way and uses his chakra to walk on the walls. With Minos inside of a room. As Minos walk around, he suddenly smell fruit coming from a room, and as he walk in and hid in the shadows just in case, he saw a man resting on a bed whilst the boy that saved Zabuza's life and wasn't wearing a mask so anyone could see that he had brown eyes and that he was sitting down next to Zabuza peeling apples until he saw a small man who was wearing a business suit on and had sunglasses on with two other men that had swords strapped on them. Zabuza, I have heard from my men that Tazuna is still alive. Why is that? Said the small man. I underestimate the shinobi that Tazuna has hired. Gato, said Zabuza. When I hire you, I expected results, you being the demon of the mist, after all, said Gato. Don't worry about it, I got a plan, you see, said Zabuza. Oh, what is it? Said Gato. Simple, really. We let them get close to finish the bridge, but then Haku and I come in and kill the Konoha ninjas and Tazuna, then we destroy the bridge, which will destroy any remaining hope that these people have left, said Zabuza. Yes, that would work perfectly, however there is one more thing, said Gato. What is it? Because of your failure I had to hire another shinobi to aid. Another shinobi, who is it? Zabuza asked curiously. He's from that new sound village and its leader of that village doesn't care what kind of job just as long as I pay them. Anyways, the person taught they sent was a kid who's in the bingo book like you, said Gato. A kid in the bingo book, who is it? Said Zabuza. They him, that the white demon from sound. It's kind of fitting for him to work with you, the demon of the mist, said Gato. I'll check up on the bingo book to see who exactly is he, thought Zabuza. And also Zabuza, Gato said as he then started to walk towards Zabuza. However, Zabuza, if you do fail me again, then neither you or your assistants will leave this land alive, said Gato as he reached out to grab Zabuza's face. But as he did, the boy that was sitting next to Zabuza quickly grabbed Gato's wrist and broke it. Gato screamed in pain. Don't you lay a finger on Zabuza-san, said the boy. Gato's bodyguards both went and was about to grab their swords, but Gato used his other hand to tell not to, and then he went towards the door. Just make sure everything goes accordingly, planned Zabuza, or else, said Gato before he left the room. With Naruto. Gato's vault. As Naruto continued to go down in Gato's base, he finally came to Gato's vault, where he kept everything that he has taken from the villagers and other things. However, it was guarded by 8 men and was locked, with the only way to get in was with a unique key that no doubt that Gato kept on him all times. So Naruto quickly perform a sound barrier seal, then he knock each guard as fast as possible. After he tie them up, Naruto then place his hand over keyhole and channel his chakra mold though it to find out what shape the key was, and once he found out, he then create an identical copy of it and open the vault. As he walked around in the vault, he saw books, paintings, statues, bags of money, and then Naruto saw it in the middle of the room, a light green glowing crystal orb that had red seals on it. This is it, said Naruto as he looked at the orb. These seals on this orb are similar to the one at the compound and around my wrist, but there is couple of differences. This is probably the thing which prevented me from sensing anyone here before, but if that the case, why does Gato have it? Maybe a shinobi he hired inform him about it and he desired to use it. If anyone sends any assassins after him, they wouldn't be able to find him, thought Naruto. However, just then Naruto quickly turned around and brought out his black-bladed katana to block a strike from the person who just tried to kill him. It was a guy who looked to be around the same age as Naruto. He had tousled white-blue hair, thin eyebrows, with golden eyes, and a pale complexion. He wears a dark blue sound forehead protector on his head. He wears a loose-fitting dark blue kimono shirt with billowing, overlong sleeves, black arm guards that cover his forearms, black pants, over which hangs a blue cloth that covers him from his stomach to his knees, which he secures with a white rope belt, and black calf-length shinobi sandals. Who the hell are you? Naruto asked as he held his ground against his attacker. Name's Mitsuki, and you? The now revealed Mitsuki asked curiously. This isn't the same Mitsuki who's team up with Boruto, this is actually Log, who is Mitsuki's older clone sibling, and if you are wondering why his name is Mitsuki instead of Log, look on Log's background on Narutopedia profile or wait and see. Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto. Well, Naruto Uzumaki, you must have some skill to be able to not only break into Gato's hideout but also manage to break in this vault undetected, said Mitsuki. And you must have some skill to be able to find me, said Naruto. I got to get out of here before everyone else in this place finds out I'm here, thought Naruto. Naruto managed to push Mitsuki away from him, desired that he come back later on, take only Gato's money whilst giving all the villagers their money that was taken from them, but for now he was going to take the orb and examined later, but before he did he sent a message to Minos telling him that he can return home. Then he undid the connection between them and teleport away just in time as Mitsuki launched another attack on Naruto. He teleported away. Interesting, I guess this job isn't going to be boring after all, Mitsuki thought curiously. With Naruto outside Gato's hideout. That went well, Naruto said himself. Just then Naruto retrieved the memories from one of his shadow clones at the bridge, telling him that Kakashi was on his way to them, so Naruto used the flying thunder jutsu to teleport Ed to where the clone that had dispersed just was. At the bridge. As Naruto arrived at the bridge a few minutes later, Kakashi arrived but was alone. Naruto then came out of his hiding spot. Where the other two? Said Naruto. Still there at the forest, said Kakashi. How's their training coming along? Said Naruto. Well, Sakura managed to understand the tree climbing practice and did it perfectly, while Sasuke is having a bit of trouble with it, so he's trying to get it, and I ordered Sakura to keep doing it to improve her chakra amount, said Kakashi. So why did you come here then, Kakashi? Tazuna. Well, I came to see how things coming along, said Kakashi. We haven't had any trouble whatsoever, which is kind of making me worrying, said Tazuna. I don't think they would be coming here soon, said Naruto. Why's that, Naruto? Kakashi asked curiously. I think they intend to destroy the bridge just before you finish it, said Naruto. Why would they do that when they could just destroy it now, said Tazuna. Because I believe Gato wants to destroy any remaining hope you left, said Naruto. How do you know that, Naruto? Said Kakashi. It's the best way to stop all attempts of rebellion against him, said Naruto. I see you're right, it would be better for him in that way, Naruto, said Kakashi. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Gato hires another shinobi to work with Zabuza and his fake hunter Nin, said Naruto. Yeah, you're right, Gato might do something like that, said Kakashi. Later that day at Tazuna's house. Everyone was in Tazuno's living room except for Tsunami. She was in the kitchen making dinner for everyone while Tazuna was talking with Kakashi. Naruto was reading a book. Sasuke was resting from all of his training and was thinking of ways how's he going to hurt his older brother. Sakura daydreaming about her marrying Sasuke, and in the corner of the room was Tazuna's grandson Inari. Why are you even trying? Said Inari. Everyone stopped what they were doing and turned their heads to look at Inari. There's no point fighting against Gato, he always wins, he's just too strong, it would be better if you leave and save yourself before he kills you too, said Inari. Nobody is stronger than the Uchiha clan, said Sasuke. Yeah, Sasuke-kun is right, said Sakura. You don't know anything about pain, we live in fear whiles you live in peace, said Inari. Then you really don't know anything about what Konoha is truly like, said Naruto as he got up and walked towards the door. Naruto, where are you going? Said Sakura. Fresh air, said Naruto. You really shouldn't go anywhere without backup, said Kakashi. I'll be fine, said Naruto before he left Tazuno's house. A few moments later Indri went to his room. I'm sorry for Indri, he hasn't been the same, his stepfather Kaiza was killed by Gato and his men, said Tazuna. What do you mean? Said Kakashi. A few years ago. Before Gato arrived here at the land of waves, Inari fell into the ocean but was saved by Kaiza after Kaiza became a role model for Indri, and he had a saying, protecting the things you love with both arms. Kaiza marry Tsunami a father, but one day there was a flood that was going to destroy everything and there was only way of stopping it by closing two large gates. However, nobody could reach them because it was on the other side of the overflowing river, but Kaiza just dive in and managed to close them, said Tazuna. Wow, he sounds like a great man, said Sakura. Yes, he was until Gato and his men show up, said Tazuna. What did they do? Said Kakashi. First Gato bought out or blackmail every single shipping company here, then he started to overprice every little thing until Kaiza tried to stop him, but Gato had his men beat Kaiza down, but then Gato had his men chop off his arms to mock Kaiza's saying, and after Gato brought Kaiza out in public to executioner him because Gato wanted to show everyone what happens to them if they ever go against him, said Tazuna. That's terrible, Sakura said, upset. A few moments later, Sakura desired to ask her sensei a question. Kakashi sensei, what did Naruto mean that we don't anything about what Konoha is truly like, said Sakura. You may have noticed it back in the village how the villagers treated Naruto, said Kakashi. What do you mean, Kakashi? Tazuna. It's not my place to say, but what I can tell you is that it is because of it Naruto isn't the most friendliest guy in the world, said Kakashi.